Hello and welcome to Open, the show opening the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren, Jaime. Today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough, as well as across New York City. Coming up, we delve into the impactful initiatives of an organization dedicated to ensuring the community's access to safe, decent, and affordable housing. Later on, we'll explore an organization that's also extending financial scholarships to multiple high school seniors recently admitted to college. And then we provide some insights into managing hormonal imbalance, guide you on when it's essential to consult an endocrinologist. Then after that, we introduce you to a very special group of men who are taking a rather unique approach in assisting children experiencing medical hair loss. And then finally, we'll talk about a program that's designed to prepare talented, high-performing CUNY graduates to lead, innovate, and drive community impact. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. Hello, everyone. I'm Daren, Jaime, and you are now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on M&N's channels. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Some things have been going on through the past week, and guess what? We're going to take you through it with some Bronx updates. And we kick off with community news. With nationwide blood emergencies, there is currently no surplus, emphasizing the urgency of participation. The New York Blood Center held a crucial blood drive to collect blood. Our BronxNet reporter Chanel Thompson was there with details.
We're here at Bronx Borough Hall, where Bronx Borough President Vanessa L. Gibson has partnered up with the New York Blood Center for an emergency blood drive due to the fact that there is a shortage of blood in New York City. The blood drive was held at Borough Hall, and Bronx Borough President Vanessa L. Gibson wanted to explain why this event was necessary.
We know that this shortage is cause for concern, and obviously looking at those that are eligible, 62% of the U.S. population is eligible, but yet only 3% actually participates in donating blood. So what better way to do that than right here at Bronx Borough Hall, and what better month in January as the National Blood Donor Awareness Month, where we're raising awareness, we are lifting up the voices of those that are, recipients of blood transfusions, and we're making sure that we're talking about this all the time.
There is currently 1 to 2 day supply of types O negative, O positive, and B negative, as well as a critical shortage of platelets. The New York community is not alone. Blood emergencies have been declared across the country, indicating that there is no national surplus of blood at this time. Additionally, a recent spike in seasonal illnesses across the region is preventing many from donating.
We joined blood centers across the nation, really for an emergency plea to let people know it's really important that they donate blood right now. Due to the holidays, we had a low donor turnout, and as you saw from last week with the frigid temperatures and the snow, we had less donations than expected. So for us, a healthy blood supply is a 7-day supply. Throughout the pandemic, we've pretty much maintained a 4 to 5 day supply, and right now with the emergency, we only have a 1 to 2 day supply of most blood types. And that really puts us in a situation where if we have an emergency or if something happens where we need a large amount of blood, we may not be able to meet those needs. So it's important that people come just to make that difference.
To make an appointment, donors can call 1-800-933-2566 or visit nybc.org. Reporting for BronxNet, Chanel Thompson.
And thank you, Chanel. In other news, as the Bronx continues to battle the highest unemployment rate in the borough, there recently was a career fair aimed at connecting attendees with potential job opportunities. Our BronxNet reporter, Brittany Schuyler-Albane, has a story.
Here at Bronxborough Hall, over 100 Bronxites are touring tables with job recruiters in hopes of landing some work. Throughout the day, attendees got to speak with recruiters from several organizations, including Acacia Network, Hot Bread Kitchen, New York State Department of Civil Services, and We Staff Healthcare.
And just last night, we received over 500 RSVPs, so it's a beautiful crowd.
We were told that there were about 100 migrants in attendance, and although some could not find work due to lack of verification, they were told to come back to work toward getting official documents in place for future work.
It just goes to show that there's a real need for job opportunities, and we're bringing these opportunities to our residents.
Currently, the Bronx sees an unemployment rate of 6.6%, down from the 6.9% in 2022, and a major jump from 10.3% in 2021. City agencies are working tirelessly with Bronx leaders to continue bringing these figures down in hopes of employing almost all its residents.
And so having that human experience, that personable experience here, I think will give our Bronxites more guidance and opportunities.
Reporting for BronxNet, Brittany Schuyler-Albane.
And thank you, Brittany. That's all the time we have for our updates. We are taking a quick break, but guess what? We'll have more open when we return.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. "55% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. "34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. BronxNet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the BronxNet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit BronxNet.org to learn more.
And we are back. For over 60 years, Met Council has championed the cause of housing for people, nonprofit, and tirelessly working to ensure that everyone has access to safe, decent, and affordable housing. And joining me now to share is the Director of Program and Advocacy at the Met Council Housing, Andrea Shapiro. And Andrea, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And when we talk a little bit about housing right now, we know that we're in a huge crisis here in New York City. On your end, do you feel like things are getting better, first of all?
Definitely not.
Okay.
We're seeing one of the biggest housing crises we've seen since the 1970s, with a vacancy rate of almost around 1%. And our government hasn't done anything about it in years.
Yeah. And when we look at a lot of New Yorkers, it's really a struggle. We talk about the economy, we talk about inflation, and we're finding more people are actually spending more money on rent than ever before. And the need for public assistance, tenant assistance, is huge.
It really is, and it hasn't helped that the rent this year was raised by 5% by the Rent Guidelines Board, and that covers 1 million apartments in New York. So we saw large rent increases on top of everything else.
Being a tenant sometimes, I'm just trying to pay, right? You know, I'm working, I'm going back and forth. People get caught, behind in their rent. Sometimes they got a landlord that's really coming at them. I'm not so sure about my rights. So how do I go about necessarily finding out what my rights are as a tenant?
Great. So we have an awesome hotline that any tenant in New York City can call and can give you your rights. It's also always good just to talk with your neighbor. Not sure what to do, talk with your neighbor, talk with your local elected official, go to the library. There's lots of resources in New York. The most important thing is, as a tenant, is to not go it alone.
Right. And so for tenants who have gone it alone. There's help that's out there. They can reach out and get assistance. But at the same time, also, I want to talk a little bit about, this justice that's needed. Because there's a whole lot of people. New York is overpriced. Let's just face it.
Yes.
It's overpriced, right? And I'm thinking about if I get a parking ticket out here, any kind of other thing, I'm up. It goes against my rent. So I guess the big question is, how do we deal with this issue of fair rent, fair housing, and really, as you talk about, not for profit?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important that we put real controls on our housing. We have so many New Yorkers, especially in the Bronx, who have no protections on their housing. Their rent can be raised easily by $100, $200 a year, and they can be asked to leave with as little as 60 days notice in some cases. And so it's really important that we pass good cause eviction protection this year, and then we fight for long-term universal rent control to really stop the price gouging that we're seeing.
Yeah, let me dial back for a minute. We talked about good cause eviction, right?
Yes.
And that is some legislation that's out there, just in case we want our viewers to know.
Yes.
That's legislation that's out there, designed really to protect tenants in case they ever find themselves in this place. So let's walk back what the legislation actually covers.
Yes. So good cause eviction protection would protect any unregulated tenant. So that means if you're living in a building smaller than 6 units, a building built after 1974, or your apartment was deregulated at some point. And it would mean that you'd have a defense if your landlord raised your rent 1.5% of inflation, essentially, CPI, or 5%, whichever is more. It also means that your landlord has to have a reason to evict you. So you didn't pay rent, you're violating the terms of your lease, you're being noisy, you broke something intentionally. They have to have a reason. Right now, most tenants have no reason why their landlord's evicting them.
Yeah. So if I'm in a situation, I really don't know what to do, you've given me the number to really do that. What about from a political point of view, the legislative point of view? How do I get involved to raise my voice, to become a part of this initiative?
Yes, you can join Met Council, and you can find that on our website at metcouncilonhousing.org to get involved, or with a group called Housing Justice for All, which is a statewide coalition. And we're really excited. We're going to go to Albany in just a few weeks, really meet our legislators where they're at in Albany, and just give your local elected official a call, especially in the Bronx, and let them know how important it is that they pass good cause protections this year.
In addition to good cause protections, let's talk about other legislation that's out there that maybe we should be paying our attention to that we don't know about.
I think it's really important to know that the real estate industry is fighting back. And so they're trying to introduce a piece of legislation called the Vacancy Reset Bill. They're claiming that this is about empty apartments and rehabbing apartments, but nothing in the legislation requires them to actually do any renovations. All it would do is put anyone who lives in their apartment more than 10 years at risk of eviction. And that's particularly important in the Bronx, where we see the longest term tenants in rent stabilized apartments.
Yeah. Are we seeing more people on the eviction line, given the fact that we know what happened with the housing crisis with COVID? A lot of landlords couldn't get in, but it seems to be like there's more and more on the eviction court docket.
Yes, we're definitely seeing housing courts are packed to the point where Right to Counsel is unable to provide lawyers. So that's the program in New York to provide a lawyer to any tenant facing eviction. Particularly in the Bronx, we're seeing that there just aren't enough lawyers out there for all the people facing eviction.
Wow. This number was startling to me. 92,000 people in New York City homeless every year.
And that number's only gone up. We're seeing 1 in 10 children that are considered homeless in New York.
Right. So for yourself, obviously there's a lot of advocacy that's being done, talking to legislators. What's the sentiment that you're getting as you go out there and you talk to these people? Are they sympathetic? Are they saying, listen, we got to do something? Or is it my hands are tied? What are you hearing?
We're hearing a combination of my hands are tied and sympathy, but that's not enough. They're elected officials, and their job is to do something. And the Bronx is some of the most powerful elected officials in New York State, and so it's time for them to act.
All right. So when you hear your hands are tied, what do they say behind my hands are tied? What are some of the reasons they say?
They have all sorts of reasons. We know it's the real estate industry that's behind it, and it's time for them to listen to the tenants that elect them rather than the people who fund them.
Yeah. And so your message to viewers out there who are really watching and knowing that this is a crisis that's going on, you want people to be able to tap in and find out? What's the message you send?
Yeah, simple thing, call your elected official. Know who your elected official is the first step.
And also we talked about legislation, eliminating 421A. Want to go back and make sure that people are very clear about what eliminating 421A is going to be.
Yeah, so 421A is a tax break that real estate got to build lots of luxury apartments. Most people know about it through the lottery apartment system. And it was up for renewal, I believe, in 2021 and 2022. And we prevented it from being renewed. And we're going to continue trying to prevent it from being renewed until there are actually real controls on it to make sure we're getting truly affordable housing.
Yeah. So what is the main issue with 421A?
That it basically means that our landlords and developers aren't paying taxes, the taxes we need for schools, libraries, healthcare, and they're building luxury apartments which are raising the rent everywhere. And they're claiming they're building 20% affordable housing, but we're not seeing actually truly affordable housing. We're seeing $2,000, $3,000 apartments. They're still hard to get.
Yeah. Andrea, we got to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us and bringing us this information. Of course, we want to let you know if there's more information, visit the website at the Met Council on Housing.org. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We've got a whole lot more open coming up right after this.
We can't get anything done in this world that's so interdependent without communication. And certainly community-based media is really the core of that.
You guys do a great service to the city of New York, to the communities within that city, and really for the entire state of New York. Telling the residents firsthand what's happening out there. It's very important that we keep your facility going for as long as possible.
We talk about the Bronx. We talk about it being a borough of opportunities, a global destination. We want to make sure that we create access and opportunity for future generations, creating local jobs, stimulating our economy, giving young people opportunities like internships that will not lead to jobs, but will lead to careers.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Kat from the Kitty Rose Lifestyle, also from The Next Chapter, where we discuss shades of gray every week right here at BronxNet, Saturdays at 11 p.m. Wow, 30 years. 30 years of BronxNet public access television. I'm a girl from Brooklyn and came to the Bronx 25 years ago, started my journey on BronxNet on public access television in 2016, and BronxNet is where I got my start. BronxNet, I feel like, is a home away from home. They support all of my endeavors, and I wouldn't have been able to be on any of the other channels if it wasn't for the fundamentals that I learned right here at my start here at BronxNet. So I am so appreciative. My son says I should stop telling people I'm from Brooklyn because I've been here now, Bronx Strong, for 22 years. So I'm so grateful, and I wish you much success in 30 years, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30 more, because public access is necessary so that people like myself can have a voice. Yes, BronxNet, it's your girl Kat from Kitty Rose. Check me out every Saturday at 11 p.m. right here, Channel 68, The Next Chapter, where we discuss shades of gray. Mwah.
And I am back. Yes, tragedy struck our community with the loss of Brandon Hendricks, a rising star who fell victim to senseless gun violence. The Oyate group has honored the memory by introducing Brandon Hendricks Scholarship, which offers $20,000 to support college-bound high school seniors from the Bronx. And joining us now is the group's program coordinator, Alexander Reyes, and project manager, Lymarie Francisco. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
And really, it's a great thing that you're doing in terms of really remembering Brandon's memory and really putting forth this, you know, the scholarship effort. But talk to us a little bit about what's behind it.
Well, like you said, Brandon Hendrick was a rising star here in the Bronx, and he has so many plans for his community, his Bronx community. And, you know, we here to, Oyate's group aims to alleviate and poverty as well as economic, you know, hardship.
Right. And so when you talk about poverty, economic hardship, and then you see a person such as Brandon who really rises out of the streets of poverty, rises out of the street of hardship, and then has this happen so tragically, Alexander.
Yeah, correct. So, Brandon was a rising star. He was aspired to play basketball at St. John's here in New York City. But unfortunately, his life was taken away due to gun violence in 2020. And so the Oyate group wanted to create this scholarship to honor his memory.
And so the scholarship is created to honor his memory. Talk to us about now how people could be a part of participating and getting in the scholarship.
Oh, great. Application is right now open. It'll be open all the way to May 31st. March 31st. And they could right now go to our website, oyate.org, and they could just click on the link and just fill the applications. It's very simple.
And so for yourself to be able to come up with the scholarship, talk to us about how you're able to get the money together and, honor Brandon's memory.
Yeah, so originally the way the scholarship came out was because our founder and president, CEO Tomas Ramos, worked at a community center where Brandon used to be a participant since he was, his beginnings of his school career. And then they knew him personally, and so he saw the potential in him like many other young folks here in the Bronx. And so tragically, this happened to him, and it was cut off short. So our founder decided to, create this scholarship, raise funds in order to do that.
Yeah. I know a lot of the work that you do, social justice, right? Advocacy, really making people aware of the things that are going on. When you look at what's happening right now in our community, what do you see as one of the most paramount things right now that we have to deal with?
I see a lot of youth going the wrong direction. That's why Oyate Group provides them with a safe haven here in the Bronx.
Do you feel like there's a lack of resources, I guess I would say, when it comes to really supporting our youth right now? We see a lot of money. We talked to the last issue about housing and see a lot of housing and development going up, but then at the same time, when it comes to youth services,
Yeah, there's a lot of lack of resources, flowing into the Bronx. I mean, in New York City in general. But that's what the Oyate Group is doing, right? We're trying to do our best. We're trying to, help our communities, give opportunities for entrepreneurs, students, as well as undocumented students. We're helping undocumented students. And just to set an example, right? We want to set up an example. We want to send a message up there that if we are doing these things, we are proving that our rising stars in the city in general can aspire for what we want to be in the future. And so we want to encourage other organizations and other that want to help up there to do the same thing.
When we hear a lot of times people give scholarships, scholarships, right? But the reality is there's a lot of impact that scholarship has in the life of a young person, particularly on their way to high school, college. Talk to us about that impact that you see by being able to, give into someone's life.
Yeah, so I can tell you an example. I knew one of the first participants from 2020, Mohammed. So he is in Boston College. He's in track to graduate now in May. So these young folks took, classes with me at Houses Community College. And then I knew about the scholarship. He was thinking, I don't know, what am I going to do? Financial aid is not just, for you to go to college. You need other needs. And I can put up myself as an example. When I was in college, I needed an extra support. And so he learns about the scholarship through me. And I told him, he applied, he got in, and now, he's on track to graduate. I think he did sports in college. He's coming back and mentor, the new recipients. So that's the type of story, that we want to create, and an example that we want to set up.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see the impact. I think so many times people don't get to see the impact. We hear, oh my God, they're doing a scholarship, but then don't know the impact. That's a great testimony of the impact. So again, for somebody out there, hey, maybe a scholarship could help you out.
And even with Jennifer and Brian, which were our last winners, we are providing them this summer also with an internship.
Awesome.
Yes.
So when we talk about scholarship time, let's go again. How long is it before the application window is open for them?
March 31st.
Okay, so make sure you get in there by March 31st. Closing date is?
No, the closing date is March 31st.
Closing, my fault. That means you got to get in before March. Yep, so closing date March 31st. and make sure that you get your information in. And so for people who want to find out more about the work that you guys are doing, let's talk about it for a minute, because it's more than just scholarships, right? There's a whole lot more work that goes on at the Oyate Group.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, and yeah, you know, that's just one of the things that we do for the scholarship, but we do have our program, which is dedicated for undocumented youth in New York City. It's called Beyond Rising. Mm-hmm. So the program now is running throughout the school year, but we also have a summer cohort, which is the application is already open until April 5th. At the beginning, you know, we have about, you know, a few hundred applications now. We have even more. And the program contains that we want to provide an opportunity for DACA students, for high school students, and college students now to get an internship, right, in areas that they're interested in, colleges and industries that they aspire to be. And then they do about 25, 30 hours per shift, even weeks. And they also get rewarded with a prepaid gift card for $400.
And then we have also our Rising Leadership program, which begins in the beginning of the school year and it ends in the summer. And what they do is they learn about technology as well as art. And then in the end of the program, they go to a trip, either to Costa Rica or the Dominican Republic. So yeah,
that's great.
With everything paid.
That's motivation right there, right? That's it.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming to share with us.
No,
And certainly
thank you
you again. I want to talk again about the Brandon Hendricks Scholarship. That deadline is coming up, so we want to make sure that you get in and get connected. It's not too late, and we want to make sure that we get as many applicants as can. Thank you so much for being with us.
No,
Thank you for having us.
All righty. Listen, now I want to let you know, I should say, if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website at theoyategroup.org. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We've got more with Open coming up right after this.
Congratulations to BronxNet on its 30th anniversary. And I'm blessed that I was here shortly after the beginning of BronxNet. At that time, I took the field and studio classes, and I spent a lot of time helping other people have shows before I put my toe in the water and decided to have a show for myself. For those of you who are familiar with the Blackwash Televised Art Gallery, that was my first show on my own. And now I am pumping up La Finca del Sur, doing Eating Healthy with La Finca del Sur on BronxNet's Channel 70. And I appreciate everyone watching.
We can't get anything done in this world that's so interdependent without communication. And certainly community-based media is really the core of that.
We want to make sure that we create access and opportunity for future generations. And for years, that is what BronxNet has done.
And we are back. The Longhairs stands as a leading men's grooming brand and distinctive global community for men embracing long hair. Now, their mission is to instill confidence, redefine masculinity, and advocate for hair equality. And here now to tell us more is the co-founder of Longhairs, Chris Healy. And Chris, I need you to know I do a lot of segments. Somehow I don't think as a man with no hair that I might be able to contribute much, but I can do something in passing on the message. Good to have you.
Daren, you'd be a handsome man with long hair. But hey, what we always say is long hair lives in the heart. So you're with us.
Right here, baby. All right. Well, listen, let's get at it. I really want to talk a little bit about, your journey, because you're doing something where you're actually taking hair from people across the world, literally, and making a difference.
Absolutely. So the Great Cut is a world record charity hair donation where we will attempt to break the Guinness World Records title for the most hair donated to charity. It's 339 pounds, which is our current record, which we broke in 2019. We'll be doing a lot of that at the in-person event in San Diego, but a vast majority of that hair that's going to help us break the record is going to come from mail-in donations from all around the country and all around the world.
So you're going to get these donations, and they're coming across. And I mean, first of all, I just can't even, 339 pounds of hair, that's a lot of hair, that's humongous, and that's noteworthy because all of that hair is not just coming in just because, it's coming in for a greater cause. And I want you to share a little bit because as you gather this hair, children are actually on the other side of this donation.
Absolutely. So I'll just tell you about our charity partner, nonprofit organization, Children with Hair Loss. They're a fine organization. They provide wigs and real custom hair replacements to children and young adults with medical hair loss. Now, that could be cancer treatment, but it could be alopecia or burn victims or any kind of medical hair loss. And they provide those replacements 100% free to the children and their families. And since the year 2000, they've never turned a child away. And all the hair that is being donated, as well as all the proceeds raised, are benefiting children with hair loss.
And so you have these children out here, obviously the recipients of that. It starts with us giving up our hair on this side, but then on the other side, children being the recipients. As you do this year after year, the impact, we were just talking with our last guest about the impact of what that does. It might be a little hair on this side, but to somebody on the other side who's the recipient, it goes a long way.
Yeah, Children with Hair Loss helps between 600 and 700 children every single year. And if you put yourself in the shoes of a young child who's about to go to school and goes to brush her hair and starts having big clumps of hair coming out, it's not just scary, but it's uncertain, and it really has a tendency to hit on their confidence and really just disrupts their entire world. So if we can give something of ourselves that's going to help re-inspire that confidence and restore a sense of normalcy to that kid's life on a day-to-day basis while they're going through something that they're not quite sure they're going through, that's something that we're really happy to give of ourselves to accomplish.
Let's talk about how people can actually participate because as we're becoming more familiar with long hairs, now somebody says, I want to do this. What's the time frame? How do they get it to you?
So mail-in donations will be accepted up until the event, which is March 16th. You could go to our website, thegreatcut.us, which is where you can find information on mail-in donations. Depending on where you're mailing it from, it may need to leave sooner rather than later. We do need to receive the hair by March 15th. There's some other ways that you can participate from afar that are listed out on our website. Or you can just book a flight, come on out to sunny San Diego, get that vacation you've deserved all year long, and join us, and we can all cut our hair in person.
You know, San Diego sounds good, but got to go to work. All right, well, I'll make sure that we can definitely get the word out here in terms of getting people to connect. I think it's very much a cause that so many people are not familiar with, you know, children out there. And I think you give a lot of context to that because we talk a lot about cancer, but there's so many other things that people possibly experience hair loss from that really need the assistance. For yourself, just the thought that you're impacting people's lives, what does that mean for you?
You make a good point. There are a lot of causes and a lot of troubles in the world, cancer and world hunger and clean water and who knows what else. And we can't solve every single one of them, but we can take one of them head on, and we are well positioned to donate our hair. I personally am going to be shaving my head. You can't quite see the bottom here, but I got about 28, 29 inches here. And there's some mixed feelings about it because hair is very personal to every person. It's very much part of my identity. I've been the long hair guy for over 10 years, and now I'm just going to be some guy. But I know that my hair is going to grow back, and that the difference it's going to make in the recipient's life is going to make it well worth it.
But Chris, let me ask you a question. I mean, I'm looking with envy right here, right? We were sitting here talking about this in the studios. We saw you right before. How long did it take you to grow that hair?
So when we broke the record in 2019, I cut my hair to about my shoulders, and it has since grown back to about to my waist. But I've been growing long hair since 2011 and intend to continue growing it as long as I am blessed for this to keep coming out.
So when you cut your hair, what's it gonna look like? How close are you cutting here?
We're gonna look like brothers from another mother. Darren, I'm taking it down to a 0, to the skull, all the way down. It's gonna be really quite a dramatic change in appearance, but that's kind of allows us to provide some of that shock. Like you said, this is not the most well-known cause, but that kind of visual shock of going from this kind of hair to a completely shaved head tends to, stop the scroll, if you will, and hopefully get some more people interested in hair donation.
Well, Chris, I'm gonna make you this deal. After you do it, right, we're gonna invite you back to the show, and then what I want to do is we want to talk about the impact of what happened, and then from a personal standpoint, I'm going to welcome you to the club, my brother. I'm going to welcome you to the club, so I wanted to let you know that. So come on back.
I'm happy I have a membership waiting for me. Well, I'm going to be in the clubhouse pretty soon.
Yeah, but the only problem is you're going to be in the club and you're going to get out of the club. I'm going to be in the club and I'm going to stay in the club, so it's all right. Listen, Chris Healy, thanks so much for being with us, brother. Keep up the great work and you're blessing lives, and that's really important. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
Great to be on. Thanks for having me, Darren.
All righty. Listen, want to let you know, if you want more information, please visit the website at thelonghairs.us. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook at The Longhairs. You have an opportunity to actually give your hair for a good cause, as it really goes to help children who have lost their hair with medical hair loss. So we encourage you, don't go anywhere. We got more open coming up right after this.
Hello, my name is Tyrone Lowe. I host a show at BronxNet called The Legends, where I bring real legends, DJs, upcoming artists, actually people from the past that's into entertainment. I want to thank BronxNet. First of all, I want to thank for the 30 years of them actually being active here. It has opened a lot of doors for me to the point where I'm branching off to have my own network. Fulfill your dreams here. That's all I have to say.
BronxNet is a wonderful place because it inspires people that want to consider a career in film and television. It's a way to come, learn, it's cost effective, and it's a way to actualize your dreams.
And we are back. Hormonal imbalances can be a challenging and frustrating experience for younger women. Statistics show approximately 80% of women suffer from hormonal imbalances. And sharing now more information, we got the owner of Washington Heights Wellness, Dr. Rosanna de la Cruz, and we welcome you to the show. And I gotta say, on a personal note, we've been doing this for a minute, right?
Yes,
and
yes,
we've been talking. Most of the time it's been through Zoom and COVID. Now we got an opportunity to have you in studio.
Thank you.
Thank you for holding us down, honestly, during COVID, and glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Honor too. So listen, we want to talk about, this is Women's History Month, and as we talk about women's health, hormonal imbalance is really huge.
Yes.
And it affects a lot of people. How big is hormonal imbalance in the lives of women?
It's pretty, it's a big factor on our quality of life and our day-to-day activity of living. It's often undiagnosed when we have disease for a very long time. And when the hormones are imbalanced, then it's not a disease. So for the medical field, it's not as important. Oftentimes women are told, oh, it's just a hormonal imbalance, and they do the test, and the tests are within the scales, but the women don't feel well. There are a lot of symptoms that can continue to happen, and they don't look like hormonal imbalances because we're not aware of what that looks like.
And I'm glad you said it because I want to get there, right? Because we want to talk about these symptoms. What are some of the symptoms that maybe we're not so familiar with that we just pass off as regular?
Yes. So there are two systems in our body they're basically twins. It's the nervous system and also the hormonal system. So we cannot have a hormonal imbalance and then have a perfect nervous system working. So one is going to affect the other. And both of those systems are affected by the gut because we die if we don't eat. So therefore, everything that has to do with our function, bodily function, will affect the gut. So some of the things that you will notice when it comes to hormonal imbalance and affecting the nervous system is going to be insomnia. And insomnia can be very different for everyone. It could be inability to fall asleep or stay asleep or both, or just going all night without sleeping. Gut issues such as GERD, acid reflux, constipation, or loose stools. I know that's a little invasive to talk about, but it's very real to all of us. As well as some high levels of stress that can cause constant worry about things that we might think that something very bad is going to happen when in fact it's a hormonal imbalance. And then we can also have joint pain without a reason. There is a very interesting frozen shoulder syndrome for women who are either perimenopausal or menopausal. And this frozen shoulder can sometimes be suggested that we get a surgery when in fact it's high levels of inflammation in the body due to hormonal imbalances.
So I'm going to cut you off. Stop me here on the frozen shoulder piece because I need to know more about that. What's that?
Yes. So frozen shoulder is inability to move our shoulders because it feels literally frozen. It's very painful. We cannot sleep on that side. There could be numbness and tingling and pain. So it is one of the most strange symptoms that we can have with hormonal imbalances. And oftentimes we just think it's something very physical, meaning that there is a rotator tear there, or it could be a nerve, and it could just be high levels of inflammation accumulating on that joint, as well as other joints in the body like knee, neck, any pain. Again, any hormonal imbalances can cause a nervous system imbalance and vice versa. So it goes undiagnosed because our bodies are telling us things differently. For everyone experiences life differently.
Right. We also know that when it comes to hormonal imbalance, there's a lot of myths out there. One of the things that people have done is they've taken it actually and made it a disease. And we know that there's a difference between disease and hormonal imbalance, but I would love for you to clarify because hormonal imbalance is not a disease.
Correct. It can feel like a disease because if we're not sleeping, if we're in pain, if we don't know what's happening with us, we are in a state of subhealth, which means it's not optimal. And that is not considered, it's not considered a disease. However, there are diseases that can be hormonal based, such as diabetes is a hormonal imbalance. Starts with hormonal imbalance, like not being able to process insulin or sugars as we should in our bodies, or it could be a thyroid condition that can start with unexplained weight gain. And so the imbalance can lead to a disease, but not all imbalances are diseases. So there are a lot of diseases that we experience, especially here in New York and in America in general, due to high stress levels that can trigger a hormonal response that can later lead to a disease. So it's better to address the imbalances before they become a disease. And also, it's good to feel good in our bodies and not be in a state of subhealth when we don't feel well, but we're not sick.
Right. So I know, and I'm not being sexist, please don't email me, don't do anything like that. I mean, I'll take it, but don't email me. I understand the context of the question. There's a lot of men out there that are asking the question, will we, have ladies in our lives, and we've got family members who are in our lives, they've got to deal with this issue of like the emotional.
Yes.
Right? And the emotional becomes something that everybody has to deal with, not just the spouse, but you got the children who are dealing with it, you got coworkers who are dealing with it. What are the signs or the symptoms, if you will, of emotional hormonal imbalance? We hear people give it out the argument, it's a hormonal imbalance, right? But the reality is what are some real signs and symptoms?
I want to say also that men experience hormonal imbalances too. It's just that women have different cycles,
right.
So therefore it's more noticeable sometimes. And in the same way, yes, there are some imbalances that can cause severe emotional turmoil for women who go through a cycle throughout the month. So if you see that a woman is almost like 2 weeks out of the month is experiencing severe emotional distress, then definitely is progressing. The imbalance is progressing. It could be due to pain. It can also be due to stress, due to the imbalance. And that can cause emotional turmoil or discomfort. And yes, the person next to us is the first one who suffers. However, a great way is to just be able to support that person, whether it's through a hormonal imbalance or a difficult time that we are going through. That's the first thing we want, someone who can hold a space for us without having a solution. And then also recommending to get help, because there is help. It's just sometimes we don't know because it's not a disease. So we go to the doctor, well, everything is okay in your blood test, so you must be okay. Go home and continue to deal with not feeling well.
Right. We talked a little bit about the emotional symptoms, but talk to me about also the mental side, because there are some mental symptoms that are associated with hormonal imbalance.
A lot of times, especially women, because we're always thinking, we are thinking, we overthink a lot. And so that's something that can be definitely more present during a hormonal imbalance, where we're progressing through our lives, things are changing, we have bigger responsibilities as we go through life, our children, or if you don't have children, work. So the mental aspect is just really, it's very important to be able to connect with our bodies, but also to be able to hold that space for ourselves. So an example of this is if you know that you're having either mental, emotional imbalances or difficulties, it's important to stop and look and see what we need. And sometimes just ask ourselves, what do I need right now? And whatever is good for us that comes up, take a small action to take on that thing that we need, that our body is needing or our mind is needing.
And typical age that you usually see hormonal imbalances start to kick in?
So we treat patients as young as 13 with hormonal imbalances in our clinic, and it could be a PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome. It's very common. It's now being more up the front of medicine. There are no solutions for polycystic ovary syndrome, but it can start as early as the first period. And then from there, the most difficult part is the beginning, and also just when we are trending toward the perimenopause to menopause stage, which is, it can start at 35. So basically, there is no age. Once we start our cycles, we can see, there is a higher rate of infertility now as well, or difficulty conceiving. Sometimes it can be due to a disorder, and sometimes can be unexplainable. And they all associated with hormonal imbalances, and also some conditions that the imbalance leads to.
Since the last time we met, things have happened for you. I mean,
yes,
you've opened up a second location?
Yes, we have. We are here in the Bronx.
Okay.
We're in Riverdale, and that's also a very great community, because sometimes we had patients coming from the Bronx, from further away. It would take them about an hour in the bus. It's closer in car and driving, but it's not that easy to drive to Washington Heights and get a parking. So we opened a second location in Riverdale, and it's going great. We have a great team of employees and myself supporting that community as well, and supporting the Bronx.
Well, we're glad to have you here. So
thank you.
Dr. Rosanna de la Cruz, thank you so much for being with us. Good to see you in person.
Good to see you
right?
too,
Then you
yes.
got Washington Heights, now we got Riverdale. We got to have you back, so now you know how to get here. So
yes.
It's right around the corner. So
I do.
Thank you.
Do.
All righty. Well, listen, if you want more information, please go ahead and visit the website at acupuncturelocal.com. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We do have more open coming up, and we'll be right back right after this.
I remember when the Bronx did not really have a media outlet properly representing the people of the Bronx.
BronxNet provides for the community by being a community where people can be empowered to share their voices.
We are in a really great place technologically. We've got all the resources that we need to be effective.
Whether it's through cameras, storytelling, editing, we have provided those services for 30 years.
BronxNet's mission is to be a voice for the community.
To educate,
to inform, and to inspire. And you can be a part of it. We've built studios for you.
And we are back. Columbia University School of Professional Studies recently launched the Columbia SPS CUNY Fellowship for the 2024-2025 academic year. The program aims to equip accomplished CUNY graduates with the skills to lead, making a community impact, and as well as advancing their professional fields. We've got now to tell us more is the Senior Associate Dean of Student Affairs at Columbia University School of Professional Studies, Zelon Crawford, and we thank you so much, Ms. Crawford, for joining us, and exciting time, huh?
It's an amazing time. Thank you so much for hosting me, Daren.
No, thank you for having us. Thank you for being with us, and I want to talk a little bit about this because this is a fellowship program that really is aimed at impacting students, and so share with us a little bit about the fellowship program.
Absolutely. I'm excited that we're launching this program. You know, if you don't know much about the School of Professional Studies, we are committed to educating the widest swath of students. And so we have students from 18 years old all the way up to 75. And this program I'm so excited about this program. I've lived in New York on and off for the last 30 years. I'm an alum of the university. The program really is focused on providing high achieving CUNY students with access to Columbia's vast academic, professional, and community resources. So the benefits of the program is a complete full master's degree from one of our 18 master's programs here at the School of Professional Studies. The fellowship provides full scholarship, a commuting stipend, as well as professional development opportunities. All fees are covered for the students. But as you mentioned, it's a fellowship program. So to whom much is given, much is expected. So our expectation is for our fellows to come in, to be active, engaged community members in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and to give back to not only Columbia, but CUNY and the New York City area. So I'm thrilled that we have the opportunity to collaborate with CUNY on this fellowship program.
And when we talk about this collaboration, obviously there is, there are two sectors here. You got CUNY and you got Columbia University, and that can't be missed because as these two are intersecting, on paper, maybe somebody says they don't intersect. But the reality is there is such great benefit for this intersection. Talk to us about that benefit of the intersection between both.
Absolutely. We're all here, right here in New York City, right? So you look at CUNY, the largest urban public higher education institution and one of the oldest in the country, that provides opportunity, education, social mobility to thousands of New Yorkers every single year. And then you have Columbia University in the city of New York, our full actual name. Look at the thousands of students that come here from all around the world to study. And there you have this, it's an unstoppable combination. You have University of New York, and then you have Columbia University in the city of New York. It'll be fantastic for us as a community. It'll be fantastic for CUNY, but I'm also very, very excited of the impact that this will make on our students. It's going to be fantastic. And I think for many students, this will be life-changing.
Yeah. Well, I want to get a chance to talk about the fellowship opportunities for students and the programs that they could possibly be looking at. So talk to us about what are some of the programs that they can look at?
So we have 18 programs here at the School of Professional Studies, ranging from applied analytics to enterprise risk management to nonprofit management to our political analytics program to negotiations and conflict resolution to sports management. So all of our programs are led by practitioners. We have faculty, we have industry leaders who are teaching in the program. So all of our programs, our students will have the opportunity to solve problems, will be able to learn from their peers. And then our hope is that they will give back to our New York City community by working in these industries and solving problems for our companies, because we know that we need students to solve our problems for the future. So we're really hopeful that the diversity of the programs that are available for the students, we're very, very excited. We'll start with a small group, but we're really hoping that we can expand in the years to come. We're committed to doing that.
Yeah, so Dr. Crawford, somebody's out there watching saying, listen, I want to do this. How do I go about becoming a possible fellow here? What do I do?
Absolutely. Go to our website, join one of our information sessions that we'll be hosting. We've had one a month. The deadline date for the fall cohort is June 1st. And, we're encouraging all students who are graduating from CUNY, students who have graduated actually within the last 2 years are eligible to participate in the program. We're encouraging our first generation students and members of traditionally underrepresented groups to apply for our program as well. And the one thing that I would say, again, it's a fellowship program. And so really think about why you want to come, why you want to do this program. We want to hear from you. We want to understand the impact that you'd make. And so really be thoughtful when you're doing your fellowship application, because that's going to be important for us to get to know you and select you for the program.
And Dr. Crawford, you talked about them telling why, but you tell us why this is so important that you think that students should really take advantage of an opportunity like this.
Absolutely. I want students, I went to Columbia and I had an opportunity to come here. I want students to have the same opportunity that I had, to study, to meet peers, to research, to take advantage of all the resources that Columbia University has to offer, whether it be the faculty, whether it be the community, whether it be professional development opportunities. I want students to have that. They already have a strong foundation having gone to CUNY, and now they're going to add the Columbia experience. And I know that they're going to continue to be unstoppable.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity, I think, when you have the opportunity to participate at a school of higher learning and an education, an educational advancement. And so hopefully we will see. And I know that you've got several that we shall be selecting from. The applications are going to roll in. What is the deadline?
The deadline for the fall cohort is June 1st.
All righty. So if you want to be in the fall, you got to get in by June. That gives you some time to get that application. Dr. Crawford and the staff will be looking out to see you. Before we go, anything else you want to tell us, Dr. Crawford?
I'm excited. Thank you for the opportunity to be shared with your constituents and encourage our students to apply. We want them here. Can't wait to have them here.
All right, Dr. Zelon Crawford, thank you for taking the time. And she's the Associate Dean for Student Affairs at Columbia University, a great partnership between CUNY and Columbia University. Dr. Crawford, thanks for being with us. All right, if you want more information, visit the website at sps.columbia.edu. I want to let you know we come to the end of our show today. I want to thank our guests for joining us and also you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, guess what? Catch the Recablecast right here on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Files Channel 2133, or watch us anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with my girl Rena Valentine on Friday. This Cafe Con Leche, and we'll tell you, this wraps up this episode. I'm Daren Jaime. Listen, make sure to keep this channel wide open. Take care. God bless. See you soon.